I think the clear answer for that is generative AI. I think that's everyone's talking about it, but that's going to make a significant difference. And I think unlike the sort of Terminator version of generative AI, I think that it's largely going to be used for productivity gains in the first place, in public sector as well as in private. But productivity gains is where people will focus on, and then the value add. So there will be some use cases of value add, but largely, as in customer-facing value add, but largely it will be internal-facing, productivity-driven focus. So that will be one area. The other area would be potentially more focus on true omni-channel contact center, customer contact tools, and then connecting those with bots and generative AI. I think that's one area of significant investment, because citizens will want to engage with government agencies through modern mechanisms, and generative AI will be the thing because they'll be using it in daily lives. So I think that's another example. And then swiftly moving between phone and chat to an email, if email might not even exist either. So yeah, those are sort of the areas I think that'll be big ones. Data is another one, but data is already here. It's the big data analysis. So using Gen AI again. So that will be an area. Yeah. Our department's next sort of 12 to 24 month priorities are largely consolidating the investments we've already made. We're coming at the tail end of a series of investments we've already made in technology and digital channel enhancement, and significant investments in both in content management systems, in CRM, in enterprise content management systems, web content management systems, data science platforms, chatbots, etc. We now need to synthesize those investments and produce an amalgamated value of those first. So for the next 12 to 24 months, it will be synthesizing and joining up those investments. So instead of buying new technologies in, because we have unrealized benefits from existing tools we have just deployed. So my focus will be consolidating rather than purchasing new things. And so and the other area in terms of work, priorities of work focus would be internal productivity. We are entering a phase of fiscal constraints, and really, therefore, how can we do more with less? And therefore, using all the tools we have recently deployed and enhance and allowing them to increase productivity benefits would be an area that I'm looking at primarily. And then while you're doing that, if you can also improve customer experience, that's awesome. I think innovation is a buzzword that's been used around quite a lot. So innovation, in my opinion, is there is place for big innovation. Big innovation takes big budgets, big stakeholder buy-ins, a big lead time to convince people, and then big lead time to implement things, and then big lead time to embed those things. I think the days of big innovation are almost gone. Here are the days of rapid, small to medium innovation. So if you have, as I said earlier, I think if you've got technologies that you've already purchased, how can you innovate with those technologies that you already purchased and then deploy them? And then realize, use innovation in existing constraints and in an existing environment rather than coming up with a completely new idea, because there are other people who are coming up with new ideas. I think within the public sector, it's actually how do you deploy innovation using your existing technologies, but also existing business processes. One of the areas I think will become increasingly relevant is leadership. And the leadership is not just the buzzword leadership, it's actually about how do you lead innovation at speed, so you can quickly deploy something, get benefit, and then deploy the next bit. And that mentality of deployment at speed will fundamentally jar with the public sector mindset of doing everything safely, document everything first before doing anything. So agility and rapid delivery of minimum marketable products is an area that will be on top of technology. Those are areas that you would want to invest more in. Yeah. I think it's a double-edged sword. So the whole thing about skill shortage is a double-edged sword. And I think everyone talks about it, but not many people actually understand what it means and where the skills shortage is actually more relevant and where it isn't. I think if you globally apply that concept of skills shortage, then you're constraining yourself into recruiting fresh blood that could actually be grown into the role. And often that fresh blood can actually add rapid value, provided they come with the right mindset. So attitude over aptitude, anytime really. The right level of experience and knowledge is important, but if you have really good attitude and a fast learning aptitude, then the absence of experience can be somehow balanced. In fact, it could be it could prove to be extremely beneficial, because you have people not restricted by old ways of working that experience brings sometimes. So skill shortage, I think, is a red herring to some extent for some roles. For critical roles which requires deep subject matter knowledge, such as AI, there are a lot of fake data scientists out there who have SQL database analysts who have done 2 weeks worth of Python training, and they call themselves data scientists. They are not. So that is an area where you need deep subject matter knowledge, years and years of studying computer science, mathematics, stats. Those are the areas of skill shortage currently New Zealand is already facing, and globally, as with the rise of ChatGPT and others, those skill shortages will be further funneled into higher paying jobs by multinationals. And how do you retain those? So that's why I think that one of the opportunities to retain those kind of skills is to show them the value that those skills can add to public good, and again invoke the heart in them. And so when that keeps them at least for a couple of years before they see the money again in the private and move on. Collaboration in public sector is extremely important, and especially in times of fiscal constraint, collaboration could allow savings from one area to be invested in another area. But equally, if you're doing a particular initiative, if you join hands together, you might actually save money, because both agencies might be doing something similar for the same target customer. So collaboration is important. I think the nature of public sector in New Zealand particularly doesn't necessarily encourage collaboration. It's not deliberate, but it's the way the agencies are funded, the way the agencies operate can be quite difficult to collaborate on. It's leaders at my level and above particularly, it's our responsibility to have an open mind of collaboration. And again, collaboration for the sake of it makes no sense. Collaboration so that with a particular initiative and outcome builds trust. And then you do one thing that builds trust, you deliver value, you get feedback, then you realize actually this is worth doing another thing. And again, moving that versus having some sort of a policy folk getting together and let's develop a collaboration framework doesn't change the world. It's really about how people who get stuff done come together and have an open mind of joining hands and not worrying about agency budget, the budgeting walls that exist within agencies. I think that's one big thing. It's actually how do we respect those, because there's a reason for those constraints and there's a reason for those silos, but how do we work while respecting those reasons? How do we still collaborate? And it has to happen at an operational level. The more policy work takes forever, really. At operations, start collaboration at an operational level first, and then policy will happen later.